Good morning, MacLaren. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. The weather today, rain and snow this morning, turning to all snow for the afternoon, high around 35 degrees. Looks like snowfall is projected to be around 1 inch, but last time they said 1 to 3 inches, and I think we got 5 or 6, so who knows? The sun rose this morning at 6:20 a.m. and will set at 7:38 p.m. This evening marks the end of Passover, Pesach. This is the end of an 8-day holiday that celebrates the deliverance of Jewish people from slavery in Egypt, also known as the Feast of Unleavened Bread, because the Jewish people fled Egypt in such haste that they didn't have time for the bread to rise. And that's where the tradition of eating matzah, the unleavened bread, comes from. Fittingly, today, April 16th, is also Emancipation Day. This is a day observed in many former colonies in the Caribbean and different areas in the United States to commemorate the emancipation, the freedom of enslaved people of African descent. This is actually celebrated on various dates, but one of them is April 16th because on April 16th, 1862, slavery was abolished in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. Okay, I wanted to keep talking about building forts. I realized I did this backwards. I should have done outdoor forts yesterday and indoor forts today because of the weather, but so be it. Um, and I think the first kind of fort that I think can be built outdoors um, is almost like an indoor fort in that um, you could probably use sheets or blankets to build it. And I would say that kind starts with some pretty strong string or rope, and you just need a couple of anchor points, right? So maybe you have a couple of trees and you tie your rope to them, and then you can make essentially a kind of a primitive tent, right? And you throw that over your line and maybe fasten it down somehow or weight it down, and you've got a pretty quick and easy to build outdoor fort. That's a good one for when it's sunny out and the weather is mild, but that's a great place to read. Um, Other outdoor forts, unless you happen to have access to a lot of lumber and a wood shop and some power tools, are probably going to work best if you have a good supply of branches. So if you do not have a backyard that is full of trees, um, your best bet here is probably to get to some kind of outdoor space or park that has a lot of trees with branches that fall. So here in town, one that is very good is Sonderman, the Beidelman Nature Center at Sonderman Park, because there's water there and there are a lot of trees and a lot of branches. Although be careful, I once had a run-in with a wasp's nest there, and it didn't end well for me. Um, but when you are building outdoor forts and you have a ready supply of branches, the first kind of most obvious structure is what we would probably call a lean-to. And that works where you just gather up lots of big branches. And I know you're jealous of my amazing artistry here. You have a big tree and start gathering up your branches, and you just lay them against your some big sturdy anchor point. And what's really fun about this is that all you're doing is leaning them against there, but over time you gather more and more and you weave them in, and pretty soon it feels very sheltered and protected and hidden and secreted away. And in fact, at the Beidelman Nature Center here in town, you can see lots of places where kids have built these themselves. The other kind of version of this is the kind of simplified teepee, right? Where you can see people start to um, have branches and just lean them up to a point that touches, and then you just build that cone around them and make it thicker and thicker, and make sure you leave a little space for a doorway to crawl in. But if you make it really, really thick and weave them really tightly together, um, it it feels very snug and secure in there. Um, One other structure that can be created pretty easily, I think just branches, it helps to have some string on hand. And that is to make your own kind of A-frame. So an A-frame, right, is a type of house or cabin um, that is in the shape of an A. And it's a really neat design, neat structure. It's great for snowy weather because the snow falls on that steeply slanted roof and just slides right down. Um, and you can build an A-frame by uh, taking, four good anchor branches and putting them together. Again, it helps if you have a little bit of string or rope to tie them together at the top. Then you find a nice, good, sturdy branch to put across the top. And then at that point, you can just start leaning all sorts of smaller, punier branches against that. Um, I don't know what the term is, a lodge pole or something, the one that runs across the top. And so you can create this great A-frame structure yourself, and it is really delightful to just crawl right in there. And that will, if you build it pretty securely, will stay up for a good long time. So those are my thoughts. I heard from a couple of kids who objected strongly to my limited number of designs that I offered. Um, so you probably have lots of ideas of your own sort of favorite fort designs, and I encourage you, if you get the chance, to get to some place with a lot of branches and start building. Okay, all of you out there, take heart. Keep tending to your victory gardens. Keep a good schedule and a good routine. Get plenty of fresh air and exercise. Be a helper to your family. Please don't tussle with your siblings. If it is your birthday today, April 16th, happy birthday. I hope you have a day of kindness, friendliness, and peace. We're all in this together. We'll see you tomorrow.